convene. These are public hearings for code enforcement violations. The hearings are quasi-judicial, and I am the special magistrate appointed to hear these cases. Formal rules of evidence do not apply, but fundamental due process shall be observed. Everyone who has a case today will have an opportunity to present testimony. You may present evidence or witnesses to testify on your behalf. There is no public comment portion. Everything today is being recorded and all testimony will be under oath. When you are sworn in, please provide your current mailing address so any orders get to the correct address. The city will present its case first and information will be displayed on the screen. Documents may be provided by the city as evidence. The city's PowerPoint presentation will be entered into evidence unless objections are made. After the evidence, I will make a ruling. That ruling will be reduced to writing and mailed to you. And at this time, let's swear in the witnesses. So everyone who wants to testify about a case, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, we can start with our first case.
Yes, ma'am. The first case was a Massey hearing. Andrew L. Polk and Amanda E. Polk, they have reached compliance. And you did award the city its cost of prosecution, and Officer Flanagan is here if you have any questions.
Officer Flanagan. Yes. So the respondents, they are in compliance?
Yes, ma'am. Drove by there this morning, and the debris is gone and the fence has been replaced.
Okay.
I have pictures. I don't have a PowerPoint, but I can show you the pictures if you need to.
That's fine. I'll go based on your testimony that they are in compliance. And I did notice that Mr. Polk was here. Was that
Yes,
him
he was here. I explained to him he's in compliance. I said he probably still has the administrative costs, which he understood, and I told him there would be no other fine, should be no other fines since then. So
very good. I'll go ahead and have a finding of compliance now and imposition of the administrative costs of $234.19.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next case.
Yes, ma'am. The next case is 23-02 at 2300 Holdings, LLC, 2300 Columbia Boulevard. And the officer in this is Frank Lewis. And I believe the respondents are here.
Yeah, the business owners. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good to see you.
I'd like to enter into the evidence right to start with the cost recovery notice of violation and hearing.
I will accept into evidence as Exhibit 1 the city's notice of violation and the affidavit of service. As Exhibit 2 is the notice of hearing and affidavit of service. And Exhibit 3 will be the cost recovery sheet, requesting costs in the amount of $128.53 for the city's costs.
Okay, this is case number 2302. The respondent's property owner is 2300 Holdings LLC. The violation address is 2300 Columbia Boulevard here in Titusville. The notices were mailed to the owner's address at 4655 Calais Corto, Titusville. The violation is 28-364, outdoor storage as an accessory use. Okay, what am I doing wrong? That might work now. Okay. The case summary, the initial inspection was in April 19th of 2022. The date given to comply was on or before June the 22nd of 2022. Notice of violation was mailed certified in first class and certified mail delivered on 4/25/2022 and signed for by the owner. Notice of hearing posted at City Hall and on the property. Certified mail, first class mail was mailed on 12/13/2022. The property is originally observed to have outdoor storage of materials used in production of fencing products. Outdoor storage of materials at that particular location is not allowed by code. He is allowed a small area behind his building that, and I'll show you in a little bit, that is allowed for storage. Some of the outdoor storage has been removed. There's still a good bit of it on site. I have not had any contact with the owner on this case. However, the business owner who is here today, myself and the business owner and development services all met here at City Hall to try to resolve the problem. We come up with a proposal that stated 30 to 50% compliance by November the 30th of 2022 with complete compliance by December 31st, 2022 was agreed upon. Like I said, to date, about 20 to 25% has been done. This is a large, you'll see over to the right-hand side of the picture is the actual office itself and all the materials out in the yard. Part of it in the middle is a staging area where the crews go out daily with the materials to do the jobs, do the fences. There again, there's over to the left-hand side is a lot of bulk material. Some of it is also for jobs. That's the main part of the bulks, and there's some more towards the rear of the property. And the conclusion is material storage is not allowed in this particular instance. It's also a condition on his business license that any outdoor storage has to meet the land development regulations.
And no outdoor storage at all, or some outdoor storage allowed?
He's allowed a little bit as defined on his business license, which is basically behind the building and off to the side. He has a fenced area that is to the right side of the main structure where he has some storage, which was allowed from the get-go, and a little behind the building.
Can you go back to the pictures and tell me when those pictures were taken?
Those pictures were taken about 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Okay. And you've been out there recently?
Yes, ma'am, was by earlier today.
And it's looks similar to this?
Yes, ma'am, very similar.
So there's quite a bit of materials?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're saying all those materials are?
Yes, ma'am, basically.
And where's the office? Is that over there on the left?
That's to the, let me go back. If it'll go. Over to the right-hand side, the far right is the actual office itself and the assembly area. Now, he has some storage, like I said, to the side and the rear of that was allowed from the get-go when he was first issued his business license.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Code enforcement recommends that order the respondents to correct the violation on or before February 13th, 2023. In order to correct the violation, they must remove the outdoor storage. order administrative costs in the amount of $128.53 to be assessed. And if it's not complied by February 13th, 2023, is requested a fine of $100 per day be imposed. Like I said, the business owner is here.
Okay. Did you have a copy of the code provision by any chance? So I could read it. I can look it up too.
No, I don't have one of that.
Right.
It's 28,364.
I'll go get you a copy. And also, ma'am, just would like to have, instead of removing all outdoor storage, have it to reflect all outdoor storage from non-permitted areas.
Yeah.
Not all outdoor storage.
Are there any further exhibits on this slideshow?
No.
All right, I'm looking at the notice of violation. It cites the code.
Okay.
So the notice of violation refers to 28-364.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it 28-364 or 28-54? That's the violation.
364.
Okay, because I see, like on the agenda, it says 28-54. The notice has 28-364. The initial courtesy notice is 28-54. Look at the notice of hearing. Notice of hearing says 364. So the initial courtesy notice, that was 4/19/2022, storage outside of approved site plan. And then the actual notice of violation cites 28-364. So the agenda's not correct?
Right.
Okay. And this is commercial property, yes?
Yes, ma'am. It is zoned RC, which is regional commercial.
So it prohibits the exterior depository stockpiling, safekeeping of materials, products, merchandise, vehicles, trailers, and the like on commercial or industrial properties. I'd say that qualifies. So this part, outdoor storage areas shall not be allowed in the front yard of the building and shall not be allowed within the minimum building setback areas of the side and rear yards? Is that the provision, the specific part we're talking about?
He was allowed an area to the rear and side of the building by his BTR. Anything else would not be allowed.
Okay, I'll go ahead and hear from the respondents. If you want to come up. And let me know your name and your mailing address.
Kenneth Jacobs. It'd be the same as the property, 2300 Columbia Boulevard, Titusville.
Okay. You are the business owner at this location?
Yes, ma'am. I am.
What's the business?
Secure Fence and Rail, LLC.
And the business is you construct fencing and install it, or what's the elements of the
Yeah,
business?
we install fence and also sell fence products. Commercial, residential, industrial estates.
Okay. All right. What have you got to say about the violation?
So, it's part of growth. We've, got that place 5 years ago, thinking that we were going to be there and not grow out of it, and at this rate. And of course, God's blessed us and let us keep growing. We have purchased 2 other properties in Oak Hill, and one of them was a clean piece of property that we're constructing buildings on right now. Unfortunately, we were hoping to have a finish date of beginning of this year, but with COVID and everything else, has pushed it back probably another 9 months. So my partner and I ended up buying another piece of property in Oak Hill, 690 US 1 Oak Hill, that already has a building on it and land to be able to store materials. We have acquired that property and closed on it December 15th. However, we do have a contract with the person we bought it from for 6 months that he has his equipment still there. He owns a construction business. We have been working 7 days a week to get part of the area cleaned out so we can start taking materials over there. We are about done with that. Unfortunately, I got 4 acres worth of material sitting on 2 acres. So it's taken us a little bit because he's had, well, any construction companies, they have stuff everywhere. So we've had to work with him in conjunction, with him working and me working and get everything moved so we can get product started to move over there. And we've also had to fence the property too. So, we got $4 million worth of inventory, so we just don't want to set it on a piece of property and people come, So we're almost at the point of being ready to start moving materials over there. We were hoping to have it done sooner. The 2 back-to-back hurricanes didn't really help much, slowed everything down a good bit. Plus, we picked up a lot of work during that time, which kept our people busier. And then, going into the holidays, we thought we'd slow down a little bit, but unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we didn't. We should be, I would say, about 75% of that area cleaned up. Realistically, I'd say by the end of March. We do have a goal to be moved out of that location by July and into our location in Oak Hill. We're working on part of the building, and as we get him kind of isolated one part, we're working on other parts, getting it set up, getting power, everything we need to work out of, as well as getting areas prepped where we can stage our materials and stuff. I know it has in there July or February 13th. We can get a portion of our materials moved by then, but just realistically, I don't think we'll be able to get it all.
I'm interested in knowing what you think would be your timeline for getting it all in its appropriate place, whether that's all stored, behind, or whatever your license allows you to store it, whether you need to reconfigure what's on your site and move some to the new property?
Right.
What would be your time frame for getting it all in the right location?
I mean, to get completely moved out of there and get everything would be, July. To get it in compliance, I would say we should be able to do it by the middle of April, realistically. Just with us working full-time and then, having to deal with the tenant at his location until he gets moved out, because we purchased the property December 15th. We got 6 months, which is June 15th. So technically, he's got till June 15th to have all his stuff moved out. However, we do have enough room to get, we unfortunately got 10 acres there, so we have enough room to get the materials. But the problem is, we have about 24 crews that come in every day, plus other companies that pick up materials. So we're going to have some of that area for storage for week to week as products get built and staged. In the little island area, that's where the concrete driveway is. So that there's no way possible with the constraints we have on the back of that property and where they technically gave us area to store. There's no way of fitting everything back there. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get 100% compliant until we move out there.
Yeah, and the problem would be if there's not 100% compliance, then a fine will start to run until
Right, and that's what
it's
we're
full
trying to
compliance.
avoid. So we're kind of in a pickle. We thought we were going to get everything done quicker, but, as the world is what it is today and I have 3 phase ordered 9 months ago on my other property, and they're telling me it's another 9 months before they even get it put in from FPL. We can't do anything until we get that power. We got the buildings built, but I can't do anything with the buildings until I get power there.
Yeah.
With this new location, fortunate we already have power there, so we're adding power to it. So it's just one of the things we're kind of, caught between a rock and a hard space. And we're trying to get it rectified and trying to get something done. But I just can't take $4 million worth of materials and set it somewhere and not be able to manage and run my company.
Right. It is a significant amount of storage there, and you have known since April that it had to get moved to an
Right.
appropriate place.
And we've been working on it since then. We've bought these properties, we've developed these properties, we put buildings on these properties, we brought in thousands of loads of dirt. I mean, we've done everything we can, but we can only move as fast as other people allow us to move.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we have 100 employees and we have a big company, and I just can't just flip a switch and, make it happen, especially with COVID. Now, if COVID wasn't here, the restraints wouldn't be, and FPL could be, 2 months out and everything will work fine. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in today. And I'm constrained to other people's timeframes right now.
How long do you think it would take to put about half the materials in the appropriate location?
I can get that done by February, by like the middle of February. I can get a good portion because a lot of that stuff we don't use on a day-to-day basis. So I could store that over there, and if I need it, any of that product, I can bring it over with my trailers and equipment. We have a solution with this. We're just, working against time right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else from the city? Recommendations, anything different? Okay.
I would be supportive. It sounded like you were indicating perhaps a benchmark compliance of that 50% by February's hearing. I would be supportive of that direction. With 100% compliance, I would suggest the April hearing date, since that's what I heard from the testimony.
You've read my mind, counsel. That's what I'm inclined to do. Okay. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and find that the property is in non-compliance of Section 28-364, referring to outdoor storage, in that there's a significant amount of business-related storage items, products relating to the commercial fence business at this location, not located in areas allowed under the code and the site plan and the BTR, that I've taken the testimony of both sides, and considering the factors set forth in Chapter 162, as well as the guidelines for assessing daily fines, I'm going to go ahead and impose an initial compliance date to remove 1/2 of the products that are in violation by February 13, 2023. Now, the February 13th date would be our next hearing date. So we'll say by noon on February 13 should be 50% of 50% of the materials and product that are in violation. As of today, I'm trying to think of if he's taking away and then adding more. 50% of what exists today, whether you're removing items and replacing items, it's still 50% of whatever is taking up the space today. And then the remaining, all the remaining products and materials that are not permitted for outdoor storage by April 7, 2023. Failure to so we'll have a hearing on February 13th to determine whether you've come into compliance with the 50% requirement, and then we'll have another hearing on April 10th, 2023, to determine whether you've come into full compliance with all materials in the proper place. So that hopefully would give you enough time. At least it would get half of the items off there, so that to make sure that you're showing your willingness to comply and getting it in compliance with the code, and then giving you the extra time that it appears that you need to get the remaining portions removed, because I understand there's been a lot of issues, and it's great that your business is booming. That's wonderful. We all want to see that, and I want you to be in compliance, but give you sufficient time to do so.
Special Magistrate?
Yes.
In the event that the property is not in 50% compliance, would you entertain a proposed fine that you would assess at that time?
No,
or would you continue the case?
Because I'm going to let it go until the April 7th, because if they are fully in compliance by April 7th, then I won't assess a fine. I think it's going to depend on how close they are to the 50% benchmark by February 13th. But the fine that will be imposed if the benchmarks are not obtained would be $100 a day, as suggested by the code officer, and the fees, the administrative costs will be imposed regardless in the amount of $128.53. Let's see what happens at the February 13th meeting. All right, that's going to be the order. 50% by February 13th, all of it by April 7, 2023. We'll be back on the 13th to make sure you're in compliance with the 50%. Please be in compliance by that date. And then
We'll give it our 100% best.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. Anything else from anybody on that case? All right. Thank you. You can leave. And that order will be mailed out to you. Anything else?
Assistant City Attorney?
No, thank you.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We are adjourned.